participants will remain on mute until they have been addressed by the board, and participants are required to display their first and last names. All of that said, by tradition, we will start with a roll call of present members. I am Brian Barabee.
Sue Mitra.
Jim Garrity.
Scott Gear.
Okay. First up this evening, the Bolton Conservation Commission will now open a public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, to discuss a request for determination of applicability for 253 South Bolton Road. Lauren, is the applicant or a rep for the applicant here this evening?
Yeah, but it looks like William Fearson, the applicant, is present tonight.
Okay. Mr. Fearson, do you want to walk us through quickly what you're proposing?
Sure, absolutely. And good evening, everyone. So we're looking to...
Hold on one second. Lauren, would you mind sharing your screen and pulling up kind of the plan?
Sure.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Fearson, if you could continue,
Sure.
please, when you have. Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we're planning some work in our backyard. So our backyard has a pretty good severe slope to it as of right now. So we're looking to essentially level it out. Wait for the map to pull up here. But the back part of it, so we had our deck redone last year. Most of the grading is going to be directly behind that. It's like it's severely downslope towards a giant ravine right behind that wall that's showing there.
Okay.
And then the land essentially juts out. If you follow that wall all the way along, the land juts out into a peninsula shape. And then there's also another ravine on the other side of it. So we're looking to have this section of lawn behind the house and right in front of the proposed shed there on the map, essentially leveled out and graded. And then also place a shed on that peninsula part, right where it is showing in the map. And then we have an existing patio, which is, if you go back to the house, right to the right of the stairs on the map, there's an existing patio there. We're just looking to have redone. It's falling apart. And that will essentially just be upgraded and redone with new pavers and such. So yeah, it's grading, new patio, and then essentially placing a shed. It's all within like the existing mature wood line as of right now. So the existing yard essentially follows where this boulder wall would be. And essentially we were just looking to grade out basically what's existing there. So it's lawn now, and then there's like fringe moss and it's not nice lawn. So we're looking to have that all leveled out too. So we're not planning on filling in any parts of the holes in either of the ravine. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's the general scope of the work we're hoping to have done.
All right, Lauren, can you, with your mouse, kind of show where the BVW, where the wetland ends, buffer zone, bordering bedroom, like?
Yes. So the dotted line here, it looks like, is the limit of the BVW, and then the 100-foot buffer zone line, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, William, is this solid green line here.
That correct. Yeah, that's the that's the buffer line. Yeah, it goes right through our dining room there on the right side of the house.
What's the size of the proposed shed? Just curious. I'm guessing you need well access. It looks like your well is behind the shed, and it sounds like you have a point to go straight out. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We're kind of going back and forth because it is blocking access to the well, and we've already had to have our well pump replaced a number of years ago. Right now, I mean, we wanted to have as large as possible. Right now, we're thinking 12 by 20. But granted, the prices of these sheds, we want to get a Reed's Ferry shed. They're quite expensive, so I'm not sure. We may downsize a bit, but yeah, anywhere. I'd say the smallest we wanted was like 10 by 16, but the biggest would probably be 12 by 20. Again, depending on the price and that type of thing. Do you know any trees that would need to come out?
So if you're looking at the shed, there's one about I don't know, what is it, probably 5-10 feet in front of it to the left on the inside. It's yeah, the top is broken off and the back is split. So it looks like it's about to fall anyways. And it's leaning over the backyard. So it's like leaning over the proposed area where we would have the yard redone and graded and stuff like that. So it's kind of a danger for our kids as of right now anyway. So that one we are looking to get rid of. It's an oak tree.
It was a safety concern for us years ago because it already has been broken off and it already is showing signs of decay.
Okay. All right. I don't think I have any additional questions right now. I'm probably going to request that we come out, well, on a site visit just to actually take a look at the site. I can kind of picture it, but that's such an extreme slope. I'd really like to possibly get out there. And I'd ask if you could kind of mark out a maximum shed location. Like if you have an idea where the shed's going to go, kind of the big, obviously you can always go smaller, but the biggest that shed would be. And it seems like if it's just one tree, you can point it out in the field. If it's, if it's more than one tree, we usually say to mark them, like wrap something around them.
Sure. Yep, absolutely.
And the rest, I think we should be able to figure out in the field. But let me open it up to other commission members to see if they have any initial questions or if they have thoughts on site visit, no site visit.
I just had a question of clarification. So if I'm understanding the map correctly, the modernizing of their patio is outside jurisdiction is really what we're looking at, Brian, is just the shed. Is that correct?
It seems that way. Yeah, unless it's any kind of, unless it's coming off wetlands from a different side.
Okay.
Which I don't know, but to me it seemed like it was just basically the shed and then that ridge where we get inside the BVW and the.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I think a site visit would be really helpful, Brian.
Same. I think a site visit would be helpful.
Anything people basically the shed, anything else people want to see marked out in the field or anything? Does that sound about right?
So is the wetland going to be marked out?
The wetland won't be marked out, but I mean, you can see it. So if you're standing at the shed area, I mean, it's pretty apparent. You can see it. It's like a pretty severe downslope, so you can see right where it starts and like the vegetation and water starts. But no, it won't be like staked out or anything like that.
Okay.
It looks like it comes off the back corner of the house, right, and kind of curves towards the stone wall.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Give us an idea when we're out there whereabouts it stops. Okay. If there aren't, let me ask, are there any members of the public here tonight that have any comments or questions on this particular hearing? Seeing none. All right, that said, to the Fearsids, if possible, we're going to continue this till our next meeting, and in between now and then, we're going to just come out on site to see what's going on out there. One thing we would possibly mention on site is the way the bylaw is structured now. If you're removing a tree, there is a tree replacement allotment that you basically need to plant another tree at a certain other part on the property, perhaps. We'll come out and take a look if the tree is definitely dead, hazard, that might be something that we can possibly look to exempt, but just something to think about when we come back for next time.
Sure, absolutely. And we were actually planning on plantings as well, some trees anyways, so that would be perfectly fine. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. In that case, I'm going to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for 253 South Bolton Road until our next meeting, Tuesday, May 19th at 7:00 p.m. Do I hear a second for continuing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Sue?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well. All right, thank you. And to the Fearsons, either Lauren or Rebecca will reach out to try to schedule a time to get everyone out there.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys have a good night.
You too.
Excuse me. Oh, perfect. Next up this evening, the Bolton Conservation Commission will now continue the public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, discussing a request for determination of applicability for Lot 4 on Green Road. And it looks like we have Brandon Ducharme with us tonight, representing the applicant. In between our last meeting and this, there was a site visit conducted. I think I'm the only person in this meeting that was not out in the field. Does somebody want to give us a quick rundown of what they saw or what they observed in the field? Don't all jump up.
Sure. So we went out and we visited the site. We saw where the house location is. It's corner of Green and Harvard Road. The site, there's a field that is close to the road there. So the house, I was under the impression that the house was going on that field. It's not. So it's going much further back, more towards on Green Road as opposed to Harvard Road. So we looked at that house location, looked at the field. I know Rebecca had found a couple instances of delineation questions for BBW. So I think Brendan moved the stakes out a little bit, 3 or 4 feet, excuse me, in one direction. And then we spent some time looking at the stream that runs basically parallel to Harvard Road. So we looked at the stream, walked the stream, and I believe the intent of Brendan was saying that it's intermittent. So we were spending some time trying to decide if the stream is intermittent or a perennial stream. And I know Rebecca, in her notes, I think she had the site visit notes said it was perennial, but I believe in a follow-up email, and correct me if I'm wrong, she determined that it was in fact intermittent. So it looks like that's an intermittent stream. I'm not sure how far away that is, or if it really matters at this point, since it's intermittent. I guess it would be BBW. So I believe Brandon spec'd out the 100 feet. So it seems like it's not jurisdictional per se. It's well away from the 100 feet for BBW.
That sum it up well for Sue and Scott, or?
Yeah, the only thing I would clarify is, Jim, I'm not sure if Brendan made the adjustments or we're going to request that he does make those minor adjustments. Did Brendan, have those adjustments been made already?
Yeah, so that was a pretty good recap. So based on that site visit, there was some back and forth between Rebecca and myself, but ultimately, once I kind of got the final email from her yesterday, we submitted by email a updated copy of the plan, which I can share my screen if you want to see. But basically, there's one section of that BBW that extends into the existing field. There's kind of a low area that confines surface water. And we moved out, or we added a flag to move that wetland boundary out about 3.5 feet, which we've submitted a updated plan. And on that updated plan, it also revised the 100-foot buffer zone adjacent upland resource area to reflect that change.
Okay. And it looks like I was looking at that. It looks like everything still appears to be pretty much non-jurisdictional, even with those updates. Okay. So in talking with Rebecca, it looks like we basically have 2 options. One is let me see if I can find her. We could basically issue the RDA and ask you to submit what you did, the new plan showing where those were pulled in, appropriate erosion controls, all that on top. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I really apologize to you, Brandon. So basically option 1 was saying, all right, we're going to go forward with issuing this RDA and, confirming that this was intermittent stream and that these are all the flag locations, and ask you to basically submit part of that. Or other option was if after going out in the field, if the majority of the commission members basically thought that it was non-jurisdictional, that we basically could do a -1 determination, just saying that it's non-jurisdictional. But if we were to do that, that we would also add that the determination is not inclusive of the confirmation of wetland resource area delineation. In other words, we can basically issue it saying it's not jurisdictional, but we did not confirm the wetland resource area delineation. Or we basically could say, look, could you submit the new set of plans, we can confirm the intermittent stream classification, and then basically has to have the appropriate erosion and sediment controls in place along the entire limit of work. Do those two options kind of make sense to you? I'm not sure if I'm explaining well.
I'm not sure if you're asking me, Brian, but my only thing, yeah.
I kind of was. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yep. No. So my only thing is part of what facilitated us filing this was our inability to get permits signed off for, and this certainly covers lot 4. But one of the things during the site visit is we did walk the extents of that BVW all the way back to the back of the property, and ultimately there is an additional lot 5, which is even further away from the resource area. But we just want to make sure, obviously, that this doesn't come up, we have to refile for that lot. So if there was an option to include the language that the commission accepts the determination of resource areas, that is preferable, just to prevent us from having to come file again.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to read through some of Rebecca's notes. All right. So sediment controls, we determined it's outside. So she had a note about the field area outside of the BVW line, as amended, shall remain in the existing agricultural use within the aura and the 40-foot no disturb. To include that, if we were to issue with the delineation, does that make sense?
It does. I think what she's driving at is there's an existing field there. We're now delineating a resource area that covers a portion of that. So any future agricultural work, I'm taking that as that area should be avoided and not continue to be utilized.
Yeah. Basically, we could say it would retain an existing agricultural use or be allowed to naturalize within the aura and the 40-foot no disturb. Confirm the intermittent. All right. I should ask commission members, do you have strong thoughts or feelings on the best way to proceed with this one?
Brian, I think that I was in the impression that was our intent for going out there was to walk the line, and we did, as he mentioned, as Brandon mentioned, we did walk the entire line. I'm comfortable with once those adjustments are made to the plan, and the stream gets marked. So I think that's one of the other things that she mentions is that if we're going to provide the delineation that allows us to put the stream on the map, well, on his plans. So I'm comfortable with that approach, and I'm comfortable with the field staying agricultural or naturalization, whichever.
Okay. Lauren.
Yes.
Did we get the new plans? Or sounds like
Brandon did submit them later this afternoon after we had spoken, Brian. So Brandon, I don't know if you want to share those plans, or I can pull them up for the commission.
Sure, I can do that.
And that BVW flag, I think, had been updated on this plan.
Yeah, so everyone can see that. I kind of just color it up too. The orange, light orange line would be the aura 100-foot buffer zone. The blue line is the wetland boundary, and specifically, as I zoom in, this was the additional flag that was hung. And again, I just put a note on it that it was added at the site visit last week.
Okay.
And just to kind of repeat, so that this buffer zone reflects the addition of that flag.
Okay. Where is lot 5 in relation to this?
So as we look at this, it's southwest, so it's kind of heading off the side of the plan there. It's substantially further than 4. Not even to the point where I'd have a concern with it. The issue is, even when we were trying to get sign off on lots 1 and 2,
Yep.
This issue kind of came up, even though those lots are obviously a couple lots over from this one further away.
Yep. Okay. All right. Generally speaking, we need things 5 days in advance. I think this is such a minor change that I can, for me personally, I can completely understand what the switch has been. Are other members of the commission comfortable with these plans as resubmitted, basically showing what you had seen in the field and asked to have been moved? Okay.
Yeah, it looks good.
All right. In that case,
actually, Brian,
go ahead,
sorry,
Brandon.
if I may.
Please.
I'm sorry. The only other thing that kind of came up in the 11th hour, in talking with Rebecca yesterday, was she was looking. She's obviously discussed this with DEP as well, and she asked for a copy of proof of mailing for the submittal to DEP, which I was not able to get my hands on prior to tonight's hearing. And
Okay.
and again, I just want to make sure that the decisions that we're rendering are solid. So the only thing I would ask is that when the commission issues their determination, that they just do it under the local bylaw, which is more restrictive than the State Wetland Protection Act anyway.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm fine doing that, Brandon. I'm trying to think what then happens for the rest. Because we open the hearing under both. If we make a determination under one, can we leave the other one open? Don't we have to make a determination? Or I guess you're saying we'd close out one tonight and then we could come back in 2 weeks and close out the other?
We could. I mean, the reason I kind of talked to Rebecca prior to filing anything, because I was initially just going to file under the local bylaw, just because the work was outside, and we were talking about more of the resource areas under the bylaw. By not getting a determination under the Wetland Protection Act, what that does is it essentially removes our ability to appeal. Let's just say the decision wasn't favorable and we wanted to appeal to DEP. We would have that right if it was filed also under the Wetland Protection Act. But based on our discussions and the findings that we've had, there's obviously no reason for us to appeal. It would be similar. I mean, one of the, we could have addressed several resource areas, and if the commission wasn't comfortable on one of them, part of their findings would be that, they accept the delineation of, it's kind of the same thing. So in your findings, you're basically acknowledging that, we're going to give you, whatever the determination is, but it's strictly under the local bylaw. So if we wanted to go to DEP, we would be forced to refile.
Yeah, but I get that, but because we have a hearing open under the Wetlands Protection Act, right? Something we need to have a determination on that as well. Like if we did a determination under the bylaw, then we still have the determination under the Wetlands Protection Act staying open. And we need to issue a determination within so many days, basically, or forfeit our right to issue any kind of determination. But I suppose if we were to continue the hearing for 2 weeks under the Wetlands Protection Act, if you were able to provide Rebecca with that last piece, right, then next meeting, in theory, we could make the exact same determination under the Wetlands Protection Act that we made under the bylaw. Does that make sense?
It does, and ordinarily that really wouldn't be an issue at all. I just know in terms of the applicant, where they're under construction, time's been of the essence. The only other thing I can offer is that, we could submit something, I could get it to Lauren tomorrow, just withdrawing the RDA pursuant to the Wetland Protection Act.
Yeah, I could see it. And basically, what do you, okay. Lauren, does that make sense to you? Do we think that would
I'm just reading through Rebecca's notes, and I don't feel confident or comfortable saying yes or no either way. But in looking at her notes here, she had mentioned that after her conversations with DEP and after reviewing the regulations of the Wetlands Protection Act, the length of the stream itself is not appearing to be perennial due to the definition and related classification requirements within the aforementioned regulations. Under our bylaw, we have a statement throughout the regulations saying observable in the field for various specific resource area. That is not the case with this resource area. Therefore, it falls back to the Wetlands Protection Act regulations. At this time, the regulations as a whole in the aforementioned section are what the commission is required to apply and go by to establish that determination related to the stream. So I don't know how that pertains to the rest of the project as a whole, how the commission feels about that. But I just thought it would be important to share that piece. So.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Brandon, so the thing she's asking from you, is that basically just proof that you submitted to DEP or asked them to issue comment?
Yeah, so as you know, there's no requirement for a butter notification, which we usually, do the green cards. But when we submit to DEP, we send that via certified mail. So we filed back in March, and when I spoke to the girl who does our filings, she wasn't able to put her hands on that card. So now we're faced with, we either have to resend it certified and continue the meeting, or the option I was saying is we're not contesting your decision. Let's just withdraw or not render a decision based on that. Or you rendering a decision, but basically saying that the decision that you're making is in accordance with the local bylaw.
Yeah. And all right, that makes sense. And then like you said, then you could, in theory, hopefully tomorrow, you could withdraw the RDA under the Wetlands Protection Act. And I was thinking, even if you did not do that, then we could take it up again in 2 weeks. And all right. It's been a while since I have not tried to split one of these out, so I apologize if and Lauren, feel free to stop me mid-sentence if I have started misspeaking it. But first off, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing under the Bolton bylaw, chapter 233, for a request for determination of applicability for Lot 4 Green Road. Do I hear a second for closing the hearing under the bylaw?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Sue?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well. All right. I'd like to make a motion that we issue a -3 determination under the Bolton bylaw, chapter 233, for the request for determination of applicability for Lot 4 Green Road, with the following conditions: that the field area outside of the BBW line as amended shall retain the existing agricultural or renaturalized use within the aura and 40-foot no disturb. And that appropriate erosion and sediment control shall be, any let's see, place along entire limit of that appropriate erosion and sediment controls shall be in place and approved by the conservation agent along the limit of work between the aura and the limit of work. Do I hear a second for issuing that determination under the town bylaw?
Second.
Right. All those in favor, starting with Sue?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well. All right. And Brandon, I know you're probably going to withdraw, but with your permission, can we continue the request for determination of applicability under the Wetlands Protection Act until our next meeting?
Yes.
All right. In that case, I'm going to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for request for determination of applicability for Lot 4 Green Road until our next public hearing, Tuesday, May 19th at 7:10 p.m. Do I hear a second for continuing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Sue?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
All right. And I know we're going to lose Scott soon, but before we do, if we can quickly, next up, I think we had the request for a certificate of compliance, 578 Sugar Road. If you remember correctly, last time they were missing one component. It was the split rail fence. They have since installed the split rail fence. They have sent photos. They are in our packet. Rebecca had no issues with us issuing the COC. I have no issue with us issues with us issuing the COC. Does anybody have any additional comments, thoughts, or questions on this? In that case, I'd like to make a motion that we issue a certificate of compliance for 578 Sugar Road, DEP file number 112-0713A. Do I hear a second for issuing said COC?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Sue?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well. Yoink. If we Scott, I'm not sure how much longer we have you.
You got me until she's able to come on.
Okay.
I'll step off when she comes on.
Perfect. Well, so we have the minutes from a 421 meeting. Commission members have a chance to look through those minutes. If so, any changes, edits, corrections? If not, anybody need more time to read through the minutes? Seeing none. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes for our April 21st, 2026 meeting as drafted and submitted at this evening's meeting. Do I hear a second for minutes?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Sue?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well. And then the last thing we really need to discuss tonight to a certain oh, no, we have a right of first refusal. Okay, so I don't know if we want to go to the land steward first or the land steward one's longer. So if you look near the end of your agendas, everyone, we have a right of first refusal for Chapter 61A land on Sargent Road. Generally speaking, when we get these, we would with the Board of Selectmen, or the Select Board, gets to make the final decision on whether we accept a property or not, but it comes to us first for our recommendation. So Rebecca had suggested, this is just nothing that we have the funding for right now, but that it was in fact an interesting parcel of land and something worth considering, and that there might be people like, in theory, the Bolton Conservation Trust and the Sudbury Valley trustees, some of the private land trusts in the local region that might be interested in this project. So as we're not really in a financial position right now to ask the town to purchase this or even think about purchasing it from our own conservation funds, that we would probably need to pass on the right of first refusal for that reason. but that we should also possibly issue, but Rebecca had recommended that we could also, if that was our choice, also recommend to the select board, submit a letter to the select board stating that we are interested in supporting conservation efforts for this property. However, we do not currently have the funding. Basically, to let them know if these other private entities have interest, that it's something that we think we should support as a community. But right now, it's just funds wise, we can't really make a move on this property. Does that make sense to individuals?
Yeah, Brian, just a quick, yeah, it does. Just a quick, we talk about funds, right?
Yeah.
And we say as a conservation commission, right? When we talk about funds, are we talking about the funds at the conservation commission level, our budget, right? As opposed to, right, we all went to the meeting last night. Sure. So we don't really, it can't come out of our budget because we don't have it as a conservation commission, right? But the recommendation seems to me is, yeah, we should pursue it, fake it, and then let the select board make that decision whether or not they have the funds or not, because they control that level of funding that would be able to support the purchase of this, right?
Correct.
So I think we're saying the same thing, right?
Yeah. And like we have our conservation fund, which at one point in time was $250,000. Now it's 10,000, maybe.
Okay.
It's not gonna really get anything that we can control. And there, there are some small parcels that the 250 I think was used for an APR at one point in time for the Wilder property. Anyhow, so like that we can use if we get one of these options. But generally speaking, it's one of those where it's going to go to annual town meeting. Right. That even if the select board are like, yes, we 100% this, it's not going to come out of the town budget. It's going to be a capital request that goes to town meeting. Right. And like we did with Taggart, like we basically blow out our conservation fund to knock down the price to say, hey, we can get it at this price. If we use the money we had saved to buy some of this stuff already. Sometimes, and again, we get these, not so much often anymore, but we've gotten a number of these in the past. And some it's simply we just don't have interest that
right.
Saying it's usually for a tax lien reason or for some reason they have to offer it to us first, and it's thanks but no, it doesn't really check off any of our boxes. It sounds like this one really does. So it's basically a letter in support of it, but saying we just don't want to take action right now because we just don't think we or the town have the financial means to do so.
Right. Okay. Good. Thank you.
All right. Other questions, thoughts, comments? Okay. In that case, I'm going to call for a roll call vote when it comes to the right of first refusal for 61A Sargent Road. Sorry, that we calling for a roll call vote for us to submit a letter to the select board. Let me try this again. I'd like to call for a roll call vote for the commission to authorize the conservation agent to issue a letter stating that we are interested in supporting the conservation efforts for this property. However, at this time, we do not have the funding to pursue it. All those in favor of asking our conservation agent to issue said letter, please say aye, starting with Sue.
Aye.
Brian,
Jim?
do we need a second on that?
We don't. It's a roll call vote.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So Jim?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
And Brian, Lori's on, so I'm going to step out.
You say you got through 99% of it, Scott. Have a good night.
I did. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. See you in 2 weeks.
Take care.
Right.
So Lori Stevenson, you are here for our basically our last discussion. It is our volunteer land steward position. And Lauren, could you bring up the most recent document?
Sure. And we do have another item on the agenda too, the trail sections reroute at
Oh
Vaughn
my
Hills.
gosh. Yes. I'm so sorry.
I don't know if you want to do that one first.
We could either or. I was gonna say, if you want to bring up the volunteer land steward, technically that was first.
Oh, okay.
It came first on the agenda. So I know we had talked about this briefly, excuse me, at last meeting. This is a volunteer position we advertised for here in town. Rebecca had recommended some updates and changes to how the description was written out. I know a number of people, she said a number of people reached out to her with questions because we had some questions. Is somebody expected to do all of this, whatnot? It turns out this is more of kind of a menu. These are all of the things they possibly could be tasked with, but they would not be expected to do all of this at once, just ways in which they could possibly be used. So she wanted to kind of keep it more broad on some of those things. I went through it last week, but went through it quickly earlier today. I didn't have issues with the proposed changes that are currently in the document, but wanted to know if other commission members had questions about them, any other proposed changes, comfortable, uncomfortable, need more time.
So Brian, so this is the first time I'm hearing that that all of these duties are not, don't necessarily need to be done by one person. And I guess
Yes.
it would be helpful if that was in the document, unless it is in the document and I didn't see it. And that's totally possible because I'm extremely tired at the moment.
Totally get it. I don't think it is necessarily in the document.
I know, I think at our last meeting, Rebecca was saying, well, Rebecca didn't say it, but that somebody was interested in the land steward position. I don't know if that's still true.
I do not know.
I don't know if it matters either.
Yeah, I do not know.
Yeah, I guess it would be useful if we put in the description that whoever wants to do this doesn't necessarily have to do every single one of these. Excuse me.
Yeah, I take your point. I'm trying to think if there's an easy way for us to write that in now. I was gonna say everyone who went to, well, many of us were at town meeting last night. I take the tired point. I might say to table this. I'm trying to think. I know there's language that we can put in that duties and responsibilities may include, or there's a way to word it where it's not your full-time duties and responsibilities may be asked to perform one or more of the following duties, something along those lines. I just don't know that I can write it off the top of my head.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
There is a way to put that in.
Yeah, I guess more to the point is like, do we need to get this done right away?
See, that's why I was like, is somebody interested, but not until we get this finalized?
That's what I guess that's what I'm curious about too. Yeah.
That person is still interested. I haven't heard otherwise.
Okay.
Duties and responsibilities. Oh, all right. So in front of duties and responsibilities, could you type may be asked to perform one or more of the following. And that's, I mean, like, that's one way to add it in there.
Yeah, that'll work. That works, sure. Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Comfortable with the rest of it? Okay.
Yeah.
Lori Stevenson, strong thoughts on this one, feelings?
No, I do agree. It should be stated that you're not required to do all of it, because we've been looking for somebody for a long time, and obviously people might look at it and say, wow, this is a little overwhelming.
This is way overwhelming. That's a really good point.
I mean, but prior to joining the commission, I saw this and I was just like, no, this is ridiculous. This is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so that was the same as me. It's a full-time job,
Yeah, just
it's really, it's an interesting story. We'll have to have that discussion offline at some point. So, and I guess my thinking also is if we were to adopt it as is tonight, in order to get moving on it, there's nothing that stops us 2 weeks from now from amending it.
True.
Right. So if we could try to get that wording better, and then just update it again. But
Okay.
all right. So it seems like people are comfortable as with the corrections the way it's listed tonight. All right. In that case, I'm going to call for a roll call vote to accept the changes and amendments to the volunteer role of volunteer land steward as proposed and discussed at this posted, proposed, drafted, and discussed at this evening's meeting. All those in favor, please say aye. Starting with Sue.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Lori.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well, Lauren.
Thanks.
Yay. Okay, so last up basically last up, it was the trail section reroute at Vaughn Hills Conservation Area. And Lauren, could you pull up the Moen Trail
Sure.
new map out in it?
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And you want me to flip through the slides here?
I was to say, if you want to go to the first one, does that kind of walk us through the three?
This one here? Actually, so I think each reroute has its own slide.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the best way for us to go through this. I'm not sure if have commission members had a chance to look through this at all. All right.
Would you like me to give an overview, Brian?
I was going to say, I think that would be excellent, Lauren, because you could speak far more eloquently than I can when it comes to the quick rundown.
I'll try.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there's 3 proposed trail reroutes on the Vaughn Hills Conservation Area. The first one is a trail reroute that has already been authorized. However, the exact location has slightly changed. So we would just need an authorization from the commission to approve the slight change of that location. That's at the trailhead. So there's runoff coming from the parking area directed towards the trailhead due to the topography. So they're proposing to replace the first 30 feet off of the trail to allow drainage to continue to that area while not impacting the trail. The second one would require an RDA authorization. And this is the proposal to bring the trail up gradient, a section of the trail that is currently seasonally wet and causing users to widen the trail by avoiding the wet area. So they're just looking to bring it up gradient. And the third one would also require an RDA. It's an existing trail that has become undermined by the stream. The proposal is to move the trail section about 15 feet parallel to the existing trail. So these are the 3 locations here.
It is a very good rundown.
And let's see. So this is the first one that I mentioned coming from the parking area trailhead. So it looks like they're looking to reroute it with these red arrows here and then brush in the old path here. And it looks like they are looking to lay down logs around the parking area and potentially put a bench.
Yep.
Is this work done by the Trails Committee or?
I believe this is proposed by the Trails Committee or brought to us from the Trails Committee.
So to that effect, Jim, the first section for that parking area, that had already been approved. They're looking to basically amend it now. And I believe it is the Trails Committee that's currently working on it. The other 2 trail changes, the request for tonight is for us to request that the conservation agent submit an RDA for these two things.
Okay, thank
So
you.
I'm guessing that's future projects. It looks like they're working their way through mowing. I'm sorry, Lauren, did I had cut you off, didn't I?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. In that case, well, I think we should take them basically three at a time. So one was the reroute for the already approved RDA. People comfortable with it basically as submitted? Okay.
Yep, looks good. Yep.
In that case, I'm going to call for a roll call vote to allow for an amendment to the RDA for a Moen Trailhead reroute northwest to avoid continual flow from parking area due to natural topography and parking area causing runoff to enter existing trail. And the new trail section would replace the first approximate 30 feet of trail, allowing drainage to continue through the area while not impacting the trail. All those in favor of allowing that reroute to the existing RDA for the Moen property, please say aye, starting with Sue.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Lori.
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well. People comfortable with us submitting or asking Rebecca to submit an RDA for the other two sections that Lauren described?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to call for a roll call vote to authorize the town's conservation agent to submit a request for determination of applicability for the section of the trail that currently is seasonally wet and causes users to avoid the wet area and wide trail. The proposed trail to bring up gradient from the wet area to avoid completely. That would be number 2 on our map. I'm trying to think what's the best thing to tie it to, Lauren. The request for to submit an RDA for Moen Trail improvements.
I think you could phrase it as authorizing the conservation agent to submit an RDA regarding the two sections outlined within the Moen Trail reroute presentation dated 5/5/2026.
You're awesome. All right. In that case, I would like to make a call for a roll call vote to authorize the conservation agent to submit RDAs regarding the two sections of the Vaughan Hills Conservation Area Moen Trails plan as submitted and discussed this evening. I know I missed half what you said, but did I get enough out in a roundabout way that we are covered?
I would say so.
Awesome. In that case, all those in favor, please say aye, starting with Sue.
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Okay, thank you.
We discussed our right of first refusal. There's no real updates on oh my gosh, why can't I find it now? Not Forest Legacy. Oh, on enforcement orders. There was one update on the enforcement order for 30 Norse Road. We were kind of waiting for a filing. I think Rebecca out in the field noticed that some work had started already, but it has not been filed or asked anything yet. So she did kind of pursue that. And I think she's asked them to stop send a letter asking them to cease until they've come back with the actual filing. So that was just an update on that one. So 30 North, we're still waiting for.
Wait, so they did start work again? I know there was some question about that.
This was in my conversation with Rebecca.
Yeah.
I have not driven by it, and it seemed like she did notice, or at least could notice from the road wherever she was going by, that some work had started. I don't know to what extent, but she did issue him a letter saying you need to stop and you need to file first before you begin work. So I think that was my one enforcement order update. our volunteer land steward position is still available if anybody is interested. I want to thank everybody who went to town meeting last night. Should have mentioned this at the beginning, but for all of our loyal fans still watching, our budget was approved, or the town's budget was approved, but that means the Conservation Commission budget was approved and not amended, and our capital request for the dam repair at Bowers Springs was also approved. So thank everybody who worked on that, and I appreciate everybody who voted on that. And that said, is there any new business or anything the commission members would like to see added to our agenda for next meeting? Seeing none. I'd like to make a motion that we hereby adjourn our Tuesday, May 5th, 2026 meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission. Do I hear a second for closing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Sue.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Lori.
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Take care.
Night.